What's up, everybody? This is Chris, and I'm one of the hosts of Crucial Tunes. It's a podcast where me and my buddy Larry, we sit around and talk about music. Talk about
Can't wait for Crucial
music we
Tunes
like,
this week. It's gonna be
music
great.
we don't like.
Ooh,
Talk about
I
new
like
music,
that.
old
Crucial
music,
is
mainstream,
water.
underground. Talk to some local
9?
bands. Do it all. So if you like
Is that
music,
9?
why don't you tune on in?
No,
Crucial
6.
Tunes.
You're
Every
upside
other
down.
Friday on the Journey
Suck
into
my
Comics
dude.
Network.
Sad, dude.
The following
Following
Is a Journey into Comics.
Journey into comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics
Unintentional.
Network.
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 Production.
That's me.
We're gonna fuck the sodomites in the...
OG intro. This is old school, I think,
Well, let's see.
for sure. It's the OG intro. Wow, I can't believe I have this.
It ends a lot more intense before that.
Yeah, it does. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 83 of Podcastrophe. I am your host, Dick. Wait, am I Dick today? You are my host, Tyler? That's
Maybe
kind of
Whatever.
right.
What? Something's weird.
I don't know what happened here.
You know what? We're just gonna roll with it. Just do what we do.
Anyways, to let the listener in on the truth, we are now celebrating Fool's Week here at the Journey into Comics Network. I am your host, Nate, and today we will be doing Podcastrophe. Me and my co-host for the day, once again joining me during Fool's Week. Not
Heya.
planned.
Not planned.
Welcome, AP.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
Dude, it's good to have you here.
Gotta
man.
trust the cup.
Trust the cup.
Puts us together.
Oh yeah, the cup always puts us together. The cup provides, man.
The cup provides.
That might be the episode title. The cup provides.
The penitent man kneels before God.
Jesus. or Jesus, I guess. I didn't mean to say that either, but dude.
This is already going so well.
Oh man, I'm excited to be doing this episode with you. I don't even know where to start, man. What has been good in your world?
Just enjoying. I had some time off. Liz has been on spring break, so I took about a day and a half off last week. We did Dave and Buster's, had some fun there. Just had a good time.
What did you do at Dave & Buster's?
Played a lot of arcade games.
What kind of arcade games did you play?
Let's see. We did
Like, what were your top 3 favorite arcade games?
I like the classic ones with skee ball.
Okay, skee
There
ball's
was,
V's favorite.
There's also one that's you ever played beer pong?
Like, actually beer pong?
Well,
What,
yeah,
am I
but-
fucking 10? Yes, I played beer pong.
But it's like there's a game that's essentially beer pong. It's just like solo cups line up on a machine and you throw the ball like a ping pong ball into the cup.
Do you drink from the cup?
No, it's just a game that's just throwing a ping pong ball into a red solo cup.
The cup provides, man.
The
I'm
cup
telling
provides.
you. So what else have you guys been doing on this vacation spring break time? You went to Dave & Buster's?
we did some Dave & Buster's.
Do any movies?
We've not. The last movie we saw was Us, and I think we're going to talk about that later.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to talk about that later on. 2 weeks from now's episode of
Later
Foodie.
in the way
Future Foodies.
Future Foodies.
It's weird to do. But anyways, man, it's been crazy in my world, too.
Yeah, what are you up to?
No shows. We did Fun for Funs. That was cool.
Yeah, it looked fun.
It was fun.
For
funs.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. But we put that event together. It went really smoothly. I was really happy with the turnout and everything, and I can't wait for more events with the Journey into Comics Network. What's up, Brandon Stone, joining the fold, OG founder of the Journey into Comics Network, joining us here today on Podcastrophe.
Hello.
He's probably, at first he was a little confused. He's like, wait, who am I saying? And then he's like, oh, I bet I know what the fuck's going on. Or
What day is today? What day is today?
Or Dick was a bad dick and told Brando the story of who got what in Fool's Week.
That doesn't surprise me either.
Doesn't surprise me either.
That's the 30%.
But that's like going 100% to spoil it. But I guess, is that 30% of giving a fuck?
It's wibbly wobbly type.
So anyways, to get on the other side of, on the other side of doing the Fun for Funs, which was a fun event,
Successful event.
This week has been like focusing and getting ourselves together. We've got this WrestleMania show coming up where we've got to lay at the smackdown on a bunch of jabroni bands, which...
Say WrestleMania?
Yeah, WrestleMania 5. It's Punk Rock Night's annual event. The winner of the event gets to take home the PRN title.
Okay.
You have that title, and you have to defend it the following year. This year's champion, or the champion that should have been defending this year, couldn't. Or they heard we were coming to town and didn't want to show up or something. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, we've been doing a lot of shit talking on the event page. You can go to the PRN WrestleMania 5 page and see all the different things we've been saying and all the different... I've just been ultra heel.
Any good burns?
From me, yeah. So we're playing with the band called Ninth Circle Symphony and a band called Filth and Majesty and a band called... Brando says, I know a few... we're also playing with a band called Three Cities. So I've renamed those bands because I don't like their names. So we've got the Steampunk Toilet Twins, Fat Elton John and the Sing Along Boys.
Fat Elton John.
That's my favorite because this guy, he wore this like really fanciful getup and he was wearing shades trying to be all ritzy and it just didn't work for me, so I called it out. And then Three Titties because this band Three Cities cut a promo and their lead singer was in a bathrobe that I think was his mom's maybe, and like he didn't have a shirt on and it was just maybe a little bit too much skin showing. And anyways, so we've just been like slaying these clowns with our promos. It's been a lot of fun. We've also been prepping some new music. I'm not going to go into that here. Spoilers, that's coming this week. You guys can check that out if you go to the event. But let me tell you, I had a really crazy thing happen.
Okay.
And this is something I'm excited to tell you because we haven't been able to talk about it yet. But Veronica's mom knows this guy, good friends. I think they might have dated or whatever. And he's a multimillionaire and decided he's going to sell his house and all his possessions because he's going to take care of his mom.
Okay.
So he contacted us and was like, hey, I've got some stuff for you guys, and it's stuff I'm giving away. It's also, if you come in here and you see anything you might want that I might be selling, just ask me. You can probably have it. Like, I really don't care that much. I don't need, whatever. So we were like, okay, cool. So we went over a few days ago, and it was like a treasure trove, man. Like, I'd been to his house several times before. This is the place where I had played VR before.
Is that where you had the basement VR setup?
Yes.
It's the intense VR setup?
Oh, yeah, it was wicked, right? Same place. So we go down there, and he's like, man, I got like a bunch of gaming things for you. He's like, I got a Xbox 360 that I don't want. I was like, okay, I have an Xbox 360, but I'll take it, sure. He's like, I got a bunch of Xbox 360 and PS3 games. Okay, cool. I've got a PS3. I was like, holy fuck, my PS3 died a year ago, and I haven't had one for an entire year. You're replacing my PS3. Thank you. This is crazy. Then he's like, I also have a brand new, only played twice, Xbox One.
Like,
okay.
Is that where the controller came from?
Yeah, and then he's like, hey, I've also got this NVIDIA thing I bought. I don't know what that's about. You can have that. And then there's all this other shit, that LED work light over there. And like, he donated a ton of games to Dungeons with Dudes, so they're going to have like a whole treasure trove of new. Oh, yeah. Like, it was crazy, man. It was a really.
So he's really like just getting rid of.
He was
cleaning house.
He even gave us a fucking Victrola from like 1919 or some shit.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's in the back. It's wicked. I mean, it was one of those moments where
How
like,
big is that?
It was small enough to fit in my truck, but still pretty big.
Okay.
It was one of those moments where I was like overwhelmed as a person because I was just going there to kind of help this guy maybe clean up and get prepped for selling stuff,
Right.
And then he was just like unloading, like, here,
Just-
you
can
can have
you
this,
just-
have this,
just
take
take it.
this, keep this. You want this? You want my freezer? You can have it. And I was like,
You have the deep freeze?
no, it's a tall freezer. Like, we haven't picked it up yet, but he said we could have it. I was like, oh,
Put it in the
shit,
garage
that's
or
crazy.
something.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like a really cool experience. And then just like, I got the Xbox here. I turn it on.
Doesn't work.
It's 100% full. He like downloaded every game he ever wanted to play and never touched it. And I was like, well, you know what? Most people would probably just keep on his account, play on all his games he's bought. I don't want to do that. I want my own system. I
So
want to have my
you wiped it?
hard wiped
Took it
everything
back to
off
day
it.
one?
Day one. Start fresh. Did that with that one, and that only took about an hour, okay, to refresh. And okay, nice. Check out Xbox Game Pass when you get a chance. For $1, you get Xbox Game Pass. Yes,
Really?
yeah. First 30 days or something are free, and then it's like $1. I looked into it actually, Brando. The nice thing about it is you actually get free games constantly. Like every month, there are new games that come out that you have, and I believe
Are these like just a couple-year-old games?
some are fairly new titles. Some are a couple years old. Some are Xbox 360 games remastered and whatever. But it's nice because once you download the game, it's yours. So if you stop having Game Pass, you still have the game. When I had PSN and I would download games for PS3, they would, if you didn't keep having your gold subscription or whatever, PS Plus, you couldn't play it. If you bought a game on PS Plus and didn't have PS Plus, you couldn't access it. And I was like, that's kind of bullshit.
So it's kind of like Audible.
Yeah. Totally like Audible. So once you have the book, you keep it.
Right.
So, very well said.
Nice.
But then he gave me this NVIDIA thing. It's called the NVIDIA Shield.
Okay.
And it's like a Roku for gaming.
All right.
It comes $10 a month. Oh, Brandon corrects me. $10, not $1. Maybe it's $1 for brand new first monthers. I don't know, but
and
I
then
did
$10
see
a month continuing after that.
Yeah, that's not bad though. That's actually a really good deal.
Games you can keep, yeah.
And I mean, an unlimited library. It's very vast.
Nice.
Another thing that was cool is when I signed into my Draxus Rocker Xbox account, it immediately pulled up all my previous game downloads and were like, "Do you want to download these onto this system now?" And I was like, yes. So I've got like Super Meat Boy and my fucking.
I remember Super Meat Boy. I played it at your house.
Yeah, and I've
or
got like
your old house.
Yeah,
your dad's place.
Hell yeah, man! Old school times.
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
I don't think Sarah was playing it, but still, good stuff.
Yeah, and Uhas beat that game for me because I couldn't get past that one. Game Pass games need a subscription. Okay, so they have changed it. Xbox exclusive new releases day one. Oh, so you get them. Playable day one. That's bitching.
Nice.
Brandon is teaching us the ways of Game Pass. I totally dicked this down.
Brandon's just the third host today.
He is the third host today. Welcome back to Podcastrophe, Brando. He's a frequent host on this show. So the NVIDIA Game Shield, though, I want to mention, I had no idea what this thing was.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
The only thing I really know about NVIDIA is like the graphics.
Right? Yeah. That's what I thought too. So apparently this is like a Steam machine because you can use it with your Steam games.
Okay.
You can use it for like Hulu, Netflix, all the shit, your streaming stuff. But it also comes preloaded with tons of library. And one of the big games on that library that shocked me, I immediately was like, holy hell, I'm going to have to play this on this NVIDIA immediately, was the new Tomb Raider, the OG reboot Tomb Raider.
Oh, okay. The one that came out like
4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
But still, it was like, wow, you actually have that on your system built in. Like, I'm going to check it out for sure. And they had a ton of other games that were free to play. Like, and you can obviously play your Fortnites and any of your Battle Royale type games.
Is it PC type gaming? Like,
yeah, also.
Keyboard.
Yeah, and the nice thing, too, about the NVIDIA Shield game controller is you can actually custom design what each button does, how you want it to be. So gaming how you want it. Are there more? Game Pass is fucking amazing. Xbox Live.
360 Xbox Live free games you keep. Oh, so that's the ones you keep. So the Xbox ones you don't get to keep. The 360 ones you do, it sounds like.
That makes even more sense.
Yeah, I haven't played a video game in months.
I played a lot of Red Dead. I was pretty deep into that. I was like probably like 40% through, and then Ollie wanted to play it. And I was like, okay, so we...
I remember you told the story on...
He wrecked a horse, and that was fucking hysterical. But then he went on the murder spree. Did I tell that story?
You told us on JIC.
He literally shot a dude under the fucking chin, like execution style, and I was like, we're done here. Like, we're taking the controller right now. Immediately put on the Lego game for him, the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Did the same thing, right?
No, he didn't do the same thing. That's great, though. He totally was Iron Man and blew this fucking Jatari's head clean off. It was crazy. No, he fell in love with that game too, but then I started falling back in love with the Lego Marvel Superheroes game, so I started playing that, and then now with this recent turn of events with the Xbox One. The only sad thing is the Xbox One didn't come with any games. He didn't have any actual disc games because he was downloading everything.
Oh, so you just bought the digital.
So I am gonna have to kind of.
So when you wiped it, you lost all of the. But it was linked to his account. You couldn't transfer it.
Yeah, it does. It didn't really bother me that much. Like
there was nothing like, oh, I really wanted to play that game. I should keep it just this one.
The only one there was actually one.
What was it?
It was the new Hitman. He had the entire seven.
Wasn't it like it was like the kind of like what they did for the Master Chief Collection. It was just one of those, but for Hitman.
No, the new Hitman came out in like episodics, and they were big chunk things. I mean, each episode was like 11 to 15 gigs.
Oh wow!
So they were massive.
He must have the terabyte one, right?
Yeah. So he had that shit full though. It's 99% full. It only had 500 megs. I was like, I need to clear this, or I'm not gonna have anything on it. You know.
Right.
So yeah, that was a whole crazy.
Didn't you have an Xbox One already?
No.
Oh, so
I never had an Xbox One. Yeah, this is. It was really cool and humbling to have something like that happen. You just don't expect that.
Right. He just knew you would like this stuff and was just like, hey.
He's just like, man, I don't need it. It's not doing me any good.
It's more work to sell it.
I did ask him about the Oculus. He's like, don't touch it.
That's probably going for a...
No, it's his. He's like, this is one of the few things that's going to Mom's. Like, I'm going to go veg out and play there.
There you go.
I'm like, all right, cool, man. Fucking hey. Love it.
We'd never see you again if you had that here.
I would never see me again because I would just like, no. You know what? Honestly, though, I don't like VR as much as maybe some people, mainly because it does hurt my head.
Right.
It definitely gives me that, and depending on the game, too.
Well, doesn't like if you, in extended amount of time, you'll get, like, not vertigo, but you'll get, like motion sickness almost?
Oh, well, definitely, because, you're tricking your fucking brains. Hitman is on Game Pass, I think. It was when I played it. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, and I feel like Square Enix has the Hitman series now, so it's like a much more vast and deep game. Yeah. And
I'm pretty sure the last game I played was not the new Assassin's Creed, like the one that came out, but the one before that one.
Not Odyssey, but the other one, Origins.
Yes.
With the pyramids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I haven't played that yet. I
barely started. I played a little bit of it, but that game's like 4 years old now.
You know what's weird? I always like playing Assassin's Creed games after they're out of style. Like, I think I didn't start Assassin's Creed 1 and beat it until like a year after it came out. I think it came out in 2007. I didn't play it and beat it until 2008.
I like that game.
And that was like right before Brotherhood came out. No, 2. Because 2 came out, then Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. Then 3, then Revelations, then Black Flag.
No, I think it was Revelations, then 3.
It was Revelations, then 3. That's right.
Because it was the Ezio's story.
That's right, yeah.
I liked Ezio's story.
See, man, I'm so far back on gaming shit anymore. I don't like the jankiness of the VR camera. Depending on which VR you're playing, I think can definitely, yeah. I know that when I tried the Google headset thing, I don't know what the fuck was that called.
Was it Oculus?
But no, but it was just like you just took your fucking phone.
Yeah, Samsung had that.
Yeah,
I had it for my Samsung phone. It doesn't work on this phone, but I did it. It was fun for a little bit, and it's just not.
Yeah, I don't think it's
more just gimmicky.
IO Interactive left Square and took Hitman with them. Oh wow! So IO Interactive has Hitman back again. Okay. Damn, it's a crazy turn of events.
That's one of the weirdest thing I did with that was you can watch Netflix through the VR, but it's like you're sitting on a couch watching that. It's really like you can just clearly.
You pretend to sit on a couch in the VR world, like your feet are kicked up in a VR form.
Basically, you're sitting there just like you're watching. It's like you're like watching a movie, but it's just the Netflix screen.
I wish.
I guess if you didn't have a TV, you could just sit there with your VR headset on and just watch it.
I wish greatly that do you remember PlayStation had that it was like a Life or whatever. It was PlayStation 3's thing where you became a interactive avatar and you walked around in your own world. You could have your own apartment or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
And it was like a beta thing they were trying. And I know that initially VR cameras feel wobbly to me. Okay,
I get that.
The thing on PS Life though that I always wished they said that you could do was like, hey, if you're in PS Life and you're going to watch a movie, you can invite your friends over and they'll see the movie you want to watch on their screen. That never happened. That was just like some fanciful thing they wanted to have happen. But I thought that would be so cool to be in a video game world and sit down in your video game world, invite your virtual friends who are all online, and then just stream the same movie at the same time and know you're all in the same point in the movie and be able to headset talk to each other. I think that's a fun concept.
I think that doesn't that a thing that exists now with certain live streams you can live stream a private one with friends to watch the same. Isn't that a thing that exists?
Yeah, I think now they do have that, right?
Something like that. You can time it all so they're all no one's 2 seconds ahead of everyone else or
lagging.
Yeah.
One guy's like, and then everybody's like, what was?
Everyone's insane.
It'd be very strange. Everyone's laughing manically in their own timing. Yeah. So what else is good, AP? I feel like we're really giving the 30% for this show.
Oh, we can talk about the struggles we had trying to get this set up.
Oh, man, yeah. So we were going to have all the fancy shit, and, like, Streamlabs OS has this thing where, like, over here by AP would have been the Journey into Comics Network logo, and over here by me would have said download the podcast, and up here, I'm doing my great
I like
weatherman.
your gesturing.
Up here would be where it would say Podcastrophe.
I mean, everyone would be like, there are 2 O's. That's what we have up here. We have
the live stream viewers just got a cool show of me like doing the weatherman thing where I've got to be like, AP is here, but I'm pointing there on the screen. Like, what the fuck is this? It's very confusing.
Yeah.
But then our audio listeners are like, what is he doing? Who is this guy? Why is he on our feed? What's happened? Again, Fool's Week. It's should we explain that?
We can. So Fool's Week is basically where we kind of jumble up the hosts and the shows for 1 week, giving people a chance to kind of play in each other's world.
Yeah. And create your own visions of these shows,
right.
I think.
Like, if you had full control over a different show on the network, what would you do differently, or what would you do the same? If you just liked what they did and it's like, I would like to be on it. Let me do my own thing.
You know, and I think another thing too is it allows people to breathe. When you do a certain style of show so long, if you're topical, like I know for a fact that the first time we did this, it must have been a big relief for you to not have to do poll report because you were doing news-based, essentially Trump-based articles week in and week out on the grind because there was so much to cover.
That's why my show evolved so much and changed a lot.
Because you wanted to find where it was truly yourself, and I think you found an awesome mix of things here.
Right, because this one is just, it's now a topic as opposed to news, so it's a lot.
Which the news can be involved in that. Like,
yes.
Your topic could be voted on that it is kind of like you did indictments for episode 10. I think it was very topical.
Yeah. Even more so now. But yeah.
Yeah, totally. It says we had another person join, but it didn't say who that joiner was. So, hi, joiner, whoever you were. I'm uncertain.
Did we get a notification about it?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm uncertain. It's
Dick Blaine Tyner posted.
Oh, Dick shared it?
Oh, no, maybe not.
No,
I
he
don't
didn't.
know.
Dick doesn't love us like that. What a dick.
He's asleep.
He feels asleep. So back to the Streamlabs thing, because we were only kind of slightly on it. We started putting that together.
Right.
And in doing so, the thing wouldn't work. It just like kept not letting us go live with it for some reason. It kept just like loading.
I hate the spinny wheel.
Yeah.
Who likes the spinny wheel?
Peter Griffin. Remember that episode when the spinning wheel just like shows up in the middle of Family Guy and they're all like, what's that? Just wait, it's a spinning wheel. Everybody's like looking at it like, what the fuck is going on? Man. It wouldn't be Podcastrophe without mentioning how much I loathe the new Butterfinger.
Are you just staring at the old Butterfinger?
I'm looking at the old Butterfingers and I'm like, shit, it's glorious.
They're good.
Oh.
Liquid gold.
It is, man. I tell you what, a smart man would be stocking up on those motherfuckers. Put
them on eBay.
And put them on motherfucking
It's like how
eBay.
everyone was selling the Szechuan sauce for McDonald's for like $5 or $50.
Can I actually see that real quick?
Yeah.
The Szechuan sauce thing. That was amazing. The original Szechuan sauce sold for like a couple thousand when people were selling
And then they
those.
released them again and then it just dropped the whole
It
system.
didn't mean. Read that line in the white right there for me.
No artificial flavors or colors.
So what the fuck did Ferrero Rocher take out of that shit? If they claim they took out all the bad stuff and it says there's no bad stuff in that bad stuff.
Just make sure it wasn't a rebrand. No, this is still Nestle Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah,
Crispity, crunchy, peanut buttery are registered trademarks.
that makes sense too, actually.
No, Nestle's from Switzerland? How about that? Like, I'm just looking at the wrap right now.
No, that's good. We Cocoa Plan.
Supporting farmers for better chocolate. Yeah.
See, you
Best
look
by March 2019. End of March 2019.
So
that's why this
today.
is the last of the. That's why they're getting cheap, and that's why they're bringing the new ones on, because this is the last batch. Probably.
I would still hoard them. I don't give a fuck if they say they're out of date.
It's like a Twinkie. It's not going to go bad.
Yeah, giant Twinkie.
I still have yet to try the. I don't think everyone on the network has tried the new ones, but we'll find out later. We'll find out in a few weeks.
Please read that comment from Mr. Stone.
Avenge the Fall. I just want to see that. I love that. That's been so many memes. It's hilarious.
Oh man, there have been. Let's
I saw,
see.
Someone did for the March Madness. Someone did Avenge the Fallen, but they made the F a 4 because it's like the final four is coming.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
March Madness. I forgot about basketball. That's weird. That's a weird topic to talk about today.
Sports. I don't think sports comes up on Podcastrophe that often.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think they're really sports people.
They're more butt stuff people. I mean, if we're beside, yeah.
Oh,
like if we're being honest.
Oh my gosh. But so yeah, I think they're halfway through the Final Four.
Really?
I think they have games. Do they have games today? I have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't follow basketball closely enough. I just watched games last night. So
interesting.
Purdue lost. That's all that matters.
Okay. So what do you want to talk about today, man? We've kind of like bullshitted for about a good 20 some odd minutes here, and I feel like we could probably get into some topics and dive into some things. Is there anything that tickles your fancy off the top of your head?
I'm trying to think.
Don't strain
I don't
your
know.
brains.
I'm not so sure. Oh, I got you something. Hold on.
Okay. He has totally just left the podcast during the show. This is amazing. This is historic. We have a joiner. Who's joined us? I made the Butterfinger and Owen Hart ones.
I got you this.
What? What if Marvel Comics went metal with Ghost Rider? Oh my God, look at this cover. Oh my Lord. And I'm not going to lie, the back cover is kind of dope too. I like the Spideys on the back. Okay, I gotta crack this open and see if there's some dope art looks. You're seeing true collector in me, how fragile I'm like.
Yeah. Especially because there's no board on it.
This might literally be worth 12 cents, and I'm going to treat it like it's a $4 million comic. Because, move that. Everything's happening at once. Oh, I loved the Owen Hart and Butterfinger ones. Okay. Marvel Comics presents. I can't read what that says.
I don't know.
This is very weird. It's different. I like it. I like the what ifs because they can literally change the format. And you know what's funny that you brought this what if to this episode because it's like Fool's Week, and here's the you know what that is? That's a riff on the first appearance of Vision. Just to pull up there, this guy's holding a comic that's like the first appearance of Vision, although it is not actually the first appearance of Vision. Hasenwald?
I think it said something on like the last page about what the Hasenwald.
Hasenwald.
Weird.
Whoa. Okay, well, I'm going to have to read that off air.
So just read it
because
on
I
air.
could totally get lost in that right now. Dude, thank you so much.
I saw it. I was like, Nate would.
That's
it was
wicked.
like $1. I was like, all right, Nate would love
I
this.
love that cover, too. Robbie Reyes. Here, let me put that on there. Did I put that on there? I did. I did show it off. But just one more time. Robbie Reyes playing the guitar on the hood of the guitar.
Because when you're talking about, you were on JIC, you were talking about Robbie Reyes. About Fun for Funds. Because you're talking about how Ghost Rider could be the Deadpool of the MCU or something like that.
I mean, I think AJ was bringing that
AJ
point
was up
for sure. But yeah, that is a good theory, using Ghost Rider as kind of a be anywhere guy. He doesn't have to be his own movie. He doesn't need to have the spotlight. He can jump around and be utilitarian, or you can go super comical and change the game. But I think now having Deadpool, they're going to stay focused on that.
Yeah. I know this might be more of a J stuff, but have you talked about the new... We talked about the Avenged the Fallen, but have you talked about the new posters that they dropped this past week on JSC, or has it been talked about on JSC?
The 32 posters, the face posters, or the Russia poster, or the Chinese poster. There's lots of posters that have dropped for Avengers Endgame.
And the merch.
The merch.
Try to avoid the spoilers.
You know what? I'm not even worried about it.
But they've said like there's going to be a lot of bait and switch. Which is not how I would do it.
Too much bait and switch. You think? I mean, my thing is, if you want to surprise and shock people, think about the moment you were in theaters for the first time seeing Infinity War, and Red Skull showed up.
Yeah,
you weren't expecting it.
Well, because then they not released they showed the fungo for it, but it was much after the fact, right?
Oh, way after. It was like.
But that's like when they teased the Hulk jumping out of the Hulk Buster armor.
Correct, and then that never came to fruition because I think it's going to happen in Endgame.
Well, you do see Hulk in a jumpsuit now.
So here's my theory on that. We're going to talk about that real quick because I'm glad you brought that up. So you had that Funko of Hulk busting out of Hulkbuster. When we see the end of Infinity War, Banner is still in the Hulkbuster, right? Everybody, the fallen, like, oh God, Steve is freaked out because everything's happened. it wouldn't surprise me for Hulk to freak out in that moment and break out in anger.
Take off running or something.
Correct. And then Bruce has to like, hey, buddy, whoa.
Well,
like, he's the voice of reason now.
Because they have to, because remember they said at one point during that we need to work some stuff out. So I think that's when they'll come together and become more of a unified entity.
Absolutely. I think we're working towards a Professor Hulk, a Gray Hulk, if you will. A form of Hulk where it's actually the powers of Hulk, but the mind of Banner. Mm-hmm. And then when you get that, you have a fine, well-oiled machine. You know, he's going to be unstoppable. I just think that they're going to do a lot of things in this movie that we aren't expecting. I think we might see Ultron back.
Or a version of Ultron?
A version of Ultron, or teases.
If they play with time at all, there's no way that any of the past villains can come back.
What was that?
If they play with time at all, there's no reason that not any of their past villains can
come
back.
I got you. Absolutely. So
bring back Obadiah Stane.
Ooh, that would be interesting to fuck with Tony.
Bring back the Monger.
See, there are interesting things you could do with all of that.
Because it's we could really, or if it's just more mess with the Reality Stone.
The Reality Stone is the interesting piece of the puzzle that I think, and you heard me say this on the Fun for Fun's JIC. I think it is the key to unlocking the change across our MCU with these heroes that have just been MIA. But
yeah, I think I said it on Poor 360 last week that I don't think it's going to happen as fast as we hope it will, but I know it doesn't stop them from teasing it.
Definitely.
Because I know they couldn't film anything in direct reference to it, but they could record a little something.
Okay, so you look at this merger and how everything's happening.
Right.
You look at the behind the scenes of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, but if I'm a major conglomeration and I'm trying to get a deal going,
right?
How early do you think they knew that mid-March was the deal close? They probably knew in December, I would guess.
Right.
Because, we're working towards this date. If we can get it by March 21st, which I think was the actual date, maybe us secretly having these reshoots around the same, you know what I'm saying?
I just don't think legally they could show anything like that. They could probably draft it, but I think rights-wise, because the deal for some reason fell through March, they are in violation of stuff if they record anything ahead of time. They could have recorded something now, and it would have been fine.
Which they still could. I mean,
I think the way they have to work contracts for people to show up can't be if they don't have the rights at the time. Unless Fox filmed the reshoots separately with the intention of using it. Like if it was like they brought whatever the Russo brothers on for like a 2-day contract as a separate hire to film reshoots on
a thing that they had the rights to, but they knew Marvel needed the rights to.
Yes.
That's a smart way around it.
Because
actually.
then they don't do anything with it, and then once the rights transfer, that
footage is just theirs. Yeah,
exactly. So that's something they could do to work around it.
It's actually a really smart way to work around that, because then you can plan things out in great detail.
Right.
And they really could have Deadpool in this movie. They really could have any number of things happen.
Do you know if Stanley had a cameo in Dark Phoenix?
You know, I don't know about Dark Phoenix because I don't know. Did he keep on with all the X-Men?
I believe so.
Cameos. So yeah, I would assume he probably had one.
Depending on when they filmed it a while ago.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to think that movie was supposed to come out last year.
Well, because I mean, Sophie Turner's been filming Game of Thrones for the past year, so
yeah,
she's been done with that a while ago. But we'll have to see how that shakes out.
I think that Spidey, Far From Home, is going to be Stan's last MCU appearance.
Mm-hmm. Well, they said they're not gonna. He will be featured in every subsequent film in some capacity.
Oh yeah, they're
not gonna digital. I think there might when you watch the Netflix shows, how he was always in the episodes, but he was just like a poster or something. They'll use footage.
Just a way to nod at him and say, "Hey, we love you, Stan."
It'd been nice if you got him in a Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Yeah,
because he's been in the past couple Kevin Smith movies, like the ones that didn't make sense. It was in like Yoga Hosers, just because he's friends with Kevin, and was just like, I'll do it.
I'll do a cameo, sure, why not?
Put me in a security guard outfit, I'll do it, I'm fine.
I didn't mind Yoga Hosers. We did a Foodies on that way back.
You did.
You did it too, fool.
It's been so long.
You're like, you did. No, so we did, bro. We saw, dude. Saw, dude.
Old dad over here just not knowing what to do.
Yeah, I know. You're doing bad, old dad. It happens. I was going to say something. I cannot remember. I did a radio show recently. That was wild. We Walk Among Us got invited to do this radio show, the Doc Metal with the Real Munson. What is Dick saying?
What? I don't know. He said, "What the hell, AP? What did I do? Who did I say?"
Oh, you just liked Podcastrophe and he busted you out for it.
I really thought I did.
Live on the podcast, AP just got called out in our fucking Elite Four group. What the hell, AP?
I really thought I did. I need to go back now and see if I just... Did I unlike it at some point on accident?
You know, though, Facebook's weird like that. There have been people that I know for a fact, like the Walk Among Us page. I know for a fact my dad likes that page. Recently, I invited him to like the page, and I was like, Facebook is kicking people off of liking certain things, I think. So it might have been possible that you actually did like it.
And it got kicked.
And it kicked you off
I
anyway.
was looking at it to share it, and I was like, I am not on.
And Dick is like, you motherfucker. Tyler McLaughlin, love you guys. Oh, what's up, Tyler from Crucial Tunes? I can't wait to hear your guys' episode tomorrow. It's going to be radical.
It's going to be crucialist?
It's going to be the most crucialist of tunes.
Crucialist of tunes.
The crucialist of tunists.
Oh, gosh.
Sounds bad, but AP.
So, have you seen anything in the realm to worth talking about?
Have I seen anything worth talking about? You know what? Because it probably wouldn't fit on Foodies, mainly because it isn't what we normally talk about in movie world, I'll talk about it here. So I watched a documentary. If you have the Amazon Prime Video service, my dad does. He lets me use it.
You like your docs, too.
Oh, you know I love my documentaries. It's the best kind of storytelling. It's the real ones that you can't believe are true, right? So the Terry Kath experience is one of the most incredible stories I've ever heard. It's about this guitar player for this band called the Chicago Transit Authority, CTA.
Right.
They later became a band known as Chicago.
Nice.
Okay. Terry Kath was their original guitar player. There is an original version of 25 or 6-4 that has a guitar solo that Terry Kath wrote that's insane. It's one of the best solos of all time, like hands down.
Did not stay with Chicago after?
Well, let's talk about what happened. The Chicago was doing their thing, and they're getting ready to go do another album, and he was like, I'm going to also work on and write a solo album. I have a 2-year-old daughter. I have a different experience I want to share, so I'm going to do 2 projects. They were all very musical. They all worked together.
And they probably were very cool with that.
Correct. So the thing with these guys were to create their music, they would go on 2 or 3 day benders where they would just stay awake and create and go and almost kind of go a little bit mad and loopy in doing so. They would also sometimes take LSD or acid or mushrooms or whatever. So sometimes, but they weren't like doing like these guys weren't heroin addicts or coke addicts or anything like that, like meth addicts.
They were doing the party drugs.
Correct, right? And just to kind of unlock their brains and open up their minds. So he had been on a 2 or 3 day bender with no sleep and had done some of these drugs, and he was with one of his buddies, and one of the guys in Chicago called him. And they were talking, and he always carried his gun with him, no big deal. And he was talking, and he had his gun out, and he was talking to his friend, and he emptied the chamber, emptied the clip, did everything, and was joking, and went like this, and didn't check, and blew his fucking head off. His
friend?
No, Terry Kath blew his own head off. He didn't mean to. He thought that the gun was empty.
But he had one in the chamber.
Because he didn't double check, and he was all fucked up, and
That's why he shouldn't have the gun off. But that's a whole nother
thing. So the documentary is actually his daughter going and finding all the people that were affected by this guy's life and telling that story, and it's so fucking incredible. Just like Jimi Hendrix to Terry Kath said, "You're a better guitar player than me. I don't know why you're not more famous."
Wow.
That's fucking praise, man.
Right.
Like, it is honestly, like, it is a little bit hard to watch because it's really, there are some sad moments. You're just
when
man.
When did he die? Where was this?
I mean, they were still
CTA at the time.
No, they were just Chicago. I mean, 25 or 6-4 had come out. I mean, they were on the up and up. They were just in the early upswing. I think it was like 78 or 79 is when this happened.
So if this would have been in that age of social media, this thing would have, when this happened, it would have been massive news.
Oh, totally.
I mean, it still was massive news, I'm sure.
But it was a little bit different because Chicago was up and comers, so it was just an up and coming musician that died. It was tragic. It was not a legend. And now you look back at the career of Chicago, and you're like,
and whoever the new guitarist they brought on,
but the crazy thing is, Terry Kath's death saved Chicago. Because all those guys were in the party drugs, and they all immediately quit because they were terrified they would be next.
Right. Well, if you see that would probably, even if you're on something, you're not going to unsee that for a very long time.
Correct. You're permanently PTSD scarred and stuff. What up, Miranda Tyner joining the fold? She's not my wife. Let's be correct on that. She's still Dick's wife. I might be playing Dick today, but that's all I'm doing.
She's like, and Miranda just left.
And she just left. She's gone.
No,
She's like, this is not Dick. Where's my Dick? That sounds wrong.
He's probably in this. He's probably in the house with her. He's right next to her.
Dude. Like, oh man. So back to it. No, the Terry Kath story is really good if you have an opportunity. Seriously,
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. The last doc I watched, CNN does these series like the decades.
Yeah,
I just started watching like last week or so the 2000s because that's a very interesting time. The 2000s, like in terms of TV and what was going on in the world.
Yeah,
a lot of good TV started in the early 2000s.
I think Veronica and I finished almost all of the 80s ones and like 75% of the 90s. But we haven't started the 2000s yet because I didn't even know that was a thing. I love the CNN documentaries, though. They did that 3 Identical Strangers that I was talking about on Foodies. And they also did the Love Gilda documentary, which I don't know if you saw
Gilda
that.
Radner?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Did they do RBG or was that someone else?
Yes, they also did the RBG. I haven't watched the RBGs yet. That's on my list for sure.
It's on Amazon. If I'm
No,
not mistaken.
Hulu.
Hulu's got it all?
Hulu.
Hulu.
CNN and Hulu got that tight bond.
Very good.
So yeah, man, that's all I've got for movie stuff. What about you? Have you seen anything really interesting to note recently?
Well, we'll talk about it later. I saw Us.
Oh yeah, you had said that. Yeah. Andy has been in here. How did we miss it? Andy Imoff has been in here. He's probably like, what the fuck is going on?
Is last name Imhoff?
Yeah, he changed it from Ace to Imoff. I don't know what's going on, unless it's Foam backwards. Foam, or it'd actually be Foamy.
Andy Foamy.
Hey, Andy Foamy. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. What's up, Andy Foamy?
Oh, man.
He's going to hate me for
I'm trying to think what else a lot of just been catching up. I've been trying to work through getting caught up on the CW shows.
Okay, I'm way the fuck behind on CW shows for sure.
Are you caught up to the crossover? Or
Did you watched the crossover.
You just jumped to the crossover?
I totally did. I'm totally naive to everything. I've stayed away from spoilers. My goal is once this season of CW is done, I'm going to wrap back around and catch up fully.
Well, you know about Arrow, right?
They're ending it. Short
10 episodes
seasons
next year.
Yep.
You know that the Lady Player Felicity is not going to be back next season.
Really?
She announced that the finale will be her last episode on Arrow.
Well, she's dead.
I don't know about that.
Felicity Smoke dead.
We'll see. You're not caught up, so I can't spoil anything. But
okay,
there's other things happening. I'm also not fully caught up on Arrow. I'm caught up on everything but Arrow now. I've been working. I work in the order of the what I like. So got caught up on Flash, then Supergirl, now Arrow, and then Legends will be back this coming week, I think.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, we spent some time catching up on Gotham,
right?
And that's been fun.
They're really just since they're ending. They're not playing around. They can just do whatever.
Nonstop fan service for 5 seasons. They have never let us down as fans of this show. I think once you jump on the Gotham train, it's really hard to jump off, and I actually think it's the best superhero show on TV. It's better than The Flash. I think it's deeper than The Flash. I think its storytelling is a little bit less predictable because they don't draw it out for a long time what their game plan is.
Yeah, I think it's evolved a lot. The first season, I think it was more police procedural, and they really, I think after season 2, they were able to play more with the characters they had.
Totally. They just had to spend the first seasons to really build this world to make it make sense. Because
like, if you look at like Nigma now versus Nigma beginning of season 1, he was just a guy in a lab coat. He was smart and he was good at what he did, but he loved
Kristen Kringle.
Oh, Kristen Kringle. What was the other the duplicate?
Oh, the duplicate of Kristen Kringle. What was her name? I cannot remember.
But I really like a lot of them. Penguin's evolution, I think, has been my favorite character.
Oh, to talk about favorite character evolution in Gotham is difficult because I think everybody's journey.
The one who's like pretty consistent is Zaz, but I still love Zaz.
He is amazing. He's his comedic level, especially you're not the trial of Jim Gordon coming up features Zaz pretty heavily, and it's some of his best work. He's fucking hysterical. So we're talking about character evolution in Gotham. I would also consider best character to evolve. would probably be Bruce, actually, because
Well,
and I
Bruce
mean
has
I
the
think
most
that's the obvious
growth
answer
because he's the. If you look at him, how much he's evolved as a character and an actor, I think.
But
David, it's just his. You don't get the arc. You get in the context of what you see of like Bruce Wayne and Batman. You see him at 10 years old, and then at a 25-year-old man.
Yes,
You don't get the in between. And this is what we've been getting. You see how he dealt with
the Jesus years, as it were.
Yeah,
the
you get
missing years.
How he dealt with bullies. How he dealt with being the heir to Gotham, essentially the son of Gotham.
Yeah. His character arc, you go back to that first episode, that pilot, and he is such a little tiny kid.
But I mean, but it's also the same story you've seen.
Yeah,
it's the same age kid they've used in everything.
But you've been able to actually witness him grow up legitimately, and
Right.
the one thing I think really drives it home is they put their chips in this kid to get tall, and they got really fucking lucky that at 16 or whatever, he's really fucking tall.
Is he still? I think he's getting close to 18 now.
He's almost 18.
Because I think Selena, the person who plays Selena Kyle, is 18 now.
Okay,
but I think he's like a year younger than her. They're
right there. Yeah, but I mean, and that's one thing.
And they really hedged their bets with a lot of these younger actors, like Cameron Monaghan as Jerome.
Yes, and Carey Michael Smith as Nigma has been amazing. I think he is maybe one of the best actors on that show.
Right, and even a lot of these relatively unknown, like the guy who played Penguin. The last thing I saw before that, he was in Accepted.
Robin Lord Taylor. He was also Griff or whatever in Men in Black 3, I think.
Oh yeah, but he's just. They gave these people these platforms. They've taken it. Like Corey Michael Smith did First Man.
Ooh, how was that?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, I meant to check that out, and it was on my list.
If you have motion sickness, though, it's very not immersive, but you will feel they do a lot of camera shots to make you really feel like you're in that
space environment,
like that, or like when they're doing like the testing of the G's. So you'll kind of feel like I would recommend not seeing that in IMAX. So you'll probably throw up.
Shit.
But seeing it at home, you'll probably be okay. But it's
on Hulu.
There's a couple times I had to like kind of take a step back, and I'm just like, okay,
it's okay. Just close your eyes.
Because they really but it's great. Ryan Gosling did a good job. But getting off. But yeah, he had a small part in that, but he did great playing a different person.
Yeah, I love Gotham. We were talking about this earlier. I really think, and I think you agree with me, that they need to maybe wait 5 years, keep this cast, and then do a DCU streaming service movie.
The fact that especially since the DCU is not really, they're abandoning their conjoined construct they've come up with, being able to have like more not Elseworld style, but if they kept this to DCU or maybe did do like what Netflix does and do like a small wide drop and then drop it on the streaming service like a month later.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like, you wait a few years, keep the cast on, let everyone get a little bit older, let David Mazouz train a bit. I know, because what I've read about, because at some point he's going to be in the cape and cowl, but I know it's not his body. They like digitally imposed him on because they want a taller person, I guess, is what I've read. It's still rumors. Or like they just had the stunt guy who's a bit bigger than him.
He's pretty fucking tall, though. I mean, if you look at him, he's he's as tall as Alfred.
That's true, but Alfred's not a tall guy. He's not taller than Nigma or anything.
Well, I guess that's true, but he's still growing up. Shit.
Yeah,
he might be like 6'8" by the time this is all done. Giant,
Put on 50 pounds of muscle, just
ripped. What would you say about them maybe making him just like, okay, Gotham is over. Now we're going to take Gotham and turn it into Arkham City, and Batman's going to be on the CW verse, and he's going to have his own stories, and it's still David Mazouz.
Well, I don't think it would ever go on CW, especially if they're doing the Batwoman show. But on the streaming service, maybe.
You know what's interesting?
You can put him in the Titans universe.
You know who owns Gotham right now?
Disney. Yeah, they technically own. Disney owns part of Batman, which is probably why
Disney or
why
Gotham's over.
Ending.
They're like, well, let's just end it. That way they can't have rights to it.
Right. It is interesting because they technically, for the rest of the season, they did all the monies. I bet WB is like, we can't have this. You need to
give us our monies back. Give us our Batman back.
I don't know if there's anything. Yeah, that's interesting because the stuff that's Disney now has control over. I'm trying to think, lot of stuff that's not really Disney's accustomed.
Predator.
At least there's not a Alien v MCU.
Ooh.
Chestburster.
Alien v Deadpool.
I mean, you could do
AVDP.
You could have remember the Deadpool versus comic where it was just
Yeah.
you could have him versus a bunch of Deadpool versus the Disney.
Or it was like Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. I mean, that'd be interesting.
They did Deadpool versus Thanos, I think, is a story.
That'd be interesting. What would be the most shocking thing they could do in Endgame, in your opinion? What would be something that would actually like make you go, "Oh fuck, I did not see that coming."
I think if you I think doing not a reset, but doing an undoing of everything from day one.
Oh shit.
Like everything, because like you said, how like Captain Marvel is potentially going to lead the team post Endgame.
Yeah.
If you they went back to 2012.
Okay.
Say that's where they're going. If they changed everything post that and got the characters introduced differently.
So you mean to say that after the events of Avengers, so after the events of the original six,
not like from everyone, but yeah, if
Avengers is your reset date.
right, if you send Cap back to 1943, wherever he left from,
Okay.
I don't remember what year that was, but if you took that and like everyone post that, like, do you take your Black Panther, Spider, everything that was Black Panther would still be around because he predates. Yeah, he still predates it. His dad was still around. But if like you took every new introduced character and just you could then play with your scroll if you wanted to in that case.
Ooh. So
But if you reset that, you could bring in. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many things that I wouldn't surprise me, but I feel like you're gonna see. Like I wouldn't be surprised if all of the original Avengers from that movie cease to be around at the end.
or cease to be heroes at the end, because one thing.
Remember they had Old Man Cap for a minute because they took away his. He became the age he would have been.
Well, I mean, if you're going to Secret Invasion, when Captain America comes back, he is an old man because he's been in hiding because of the Skrull for so long. So he does come back with the white, look in OG version versus this young, stout guy or whatnot. So I think that it'd be interesting if you reset the Avengers universe and then made all the other characters show up at the events of that movie.
If you brought everyone in at 2012. And then,
what happened if in the first Avengers movie we got the epicness that maybe people thought could happen? Like, what if they introduced Vision?
or if you gave us, like, some of the OG Avengers, like bring Wasp in, because they talked about having Wasp as instead of Black Widow in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah,
but that was well before Ant-Man was even a thought.
Well, no, actually, Ant-Man was technically the first of the MCU properties that was going to start the whole thing. It should have been the first movie. The first movie that had test footage was Ant-Man.
That's true.
And then it just got shelved. Edgar Wright didn't get the script how he wanted it, blah, 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 blah.
It all works out.
It worked out how it worked out. We didn't get Ultron created by Hank Pym. Fuckers.
Right.
But, it is what it is. You have to... I will say that MCU has made me a fan of, like, just going, okay, for the most part, they stay true to the comics, and the few things they twist, all right, like, whatever, I get it.
You had an issue with the Skrull being the good guys, though.
It was a little confusing, yeah.
Because you went in based on the trailers, how you followed it based on how the comics portrayed it as they were the worst of the worst, but it portrayed them both as two
equally evil forces for different purposes,
right?
And
I'm sure there's there's factions of that group that are more evil than others. So that's what you said about the Super Skrull, how he could have been from an angrier faction.
I didn't scroll down, and Matt Wilcox had joined, as did Travis Pickett. Hello to both of you, although you're probably gone. Such is life.
Why are we? Does it say who's actually?
It doesn't. Not always. And sometimes people will be here. Like, we might have people watching us right now, and it doesn't show that there's anybody there. It's fucking weird. I don't like the live stream thing so much, but
So no, there's no one actively watching because it doesn't have the little eye with the number.
Yeah, no one likes this. We're not popular. It's okay.
We'll get people will watch us after the fact.
They'll actually probably listen to us more, anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
They like our soothing voices.
We have faces for podcasts, not for live streams.
Yeah, that's why our podcasts aren't live streamed, because we have faces for podcasting. So I like.
But I guess you asked me. So what would surprise you though? Now, you probably talked about this before, but is there something that you've thought it out in your head that like if they did this one thing, it would just your head would explode. You're like, I don't know how they're gonna go forward with this decision.
I feel like they have to shake up the status quo, so that's obvious. Like we know, like you said, Cap probably going to get displaced in the 40s or something. Tony might die, but will be Peter's new AI.
Right.
You know, Thor will stick around because they've found new
You
life
think
with
Banner's
him.
done?
Banner is a utilitarian player.
Well, especially because he's one of the few rights that still aren't not under the Disney. He's still under Universal.
Yeah, and they can just kind of use
And now
him.
Universal has all because that's all that Disney needs to complete their not
their
Universal,
Infinity Gauntlet.
but that's the few rights that they don't have, and they would probably want nothing to hinder any future plans. But he does work better, I think, because the Incredible Hulk movie wasn't great.
But of course, Ruffalo wasn't in that role,
True.
and maybe if and the crazy thing is, Mark
Reset
Ruffalo. Ruffalo was their first pick to be Hulk, and they said, no, we need to go with a bigger name, and they went with Ed Norton, and it bit him in the ass.
Well, they couldn't make Thor Ragnarok with Ed Norton.
No. It
wouldn't
wouldn't
have
have worked.
Because it would have been, not like he just wasn't, Ed Norton doesn't really have comedic chops, in my opinion. I haven't seen him do anything funny.
Death to Smoochie, probably the only movie that he did that was like on the higher comedic level for him, but even still, dry cracker comedy. I don't really
like he
get
does
that one.
he's more observational humor.
Okay.
But I feel like Mark Ruffalo can play both sides. Like, yeah, I think it works. The same reason that Thor had to evolve from the Shakespearean to the comedic I think Thor, and I like Thor Captain Marvel, at least in the few bits we've seen of their interaction from the trailers.
Hi, whoever's there. There are two people, one people, some people.
Some
Some one person.
3 people.
-3 people. Yeah,
We're no longer watching.
we're watching other people. We don't realize it. Wouldn't that be fucking something, right? So last time we were on a podcast together, we were talking about growing apart from old friends. That was last week's Podcastrophe.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to touch on that again because I don't think we talked about it enough. So has that happened to you? Have you had that you don't want to separate from your friendship, and it's not necessarily that it's toxic per se, but things change, time changes.
Well, yeah, I think sometimes friendships are friendships of proximity versus a friendship of like actual like it's like school friends. Like when you were growing up, you had friends that you were best friends at school, but you didn't really hang out outside of school.
Totally.
And like that's the same friends that like you'll talk every day about whatever you had the great interest, or you have friends at work, or like you have friends through like I have friends now like through the network.
Yeah.
That we'll talk all the time on the network. I've either never seen them in person or would never think of them as a friend, but we're close through virtual screens.
Totally.
But I feel like sometimes you evolve as a person, and sometimes the friends you've had aren't the friends you're going to keep they're your friends from like a means to an end. Like,
yeah, I get you. Okay, so my example is that when I think about friends that have drifted apart and it's like, damn it, I didn't want that to happen. I worked with this guy, Nash, and he was like one of my closest friends, man. We worked together 2 years together every day, in and out, doing the grind, delivering furniture to people, breaking our backs together, like on the road, traveling in crazy experiences and shit like that. And then I moved up here to start my new journey, and he's still where he is in his world.
right.
And, I haven't seen him since 2011. And, last year out of the blue, he called me one day.
Like,
and it was like, fuck yes, I'm so stoked to hear about
passed.
you. No time had passed. It was like nothing.
Well, it's like the friends you had when I first met you are not in your life anymore.
Not at all. And you know what I think? That's mostly true. The Andrews stuck around.
The Andrews around, and obviously Sarah.
You, Haas, Sarah, and that was
Because your roommates and all. Well, your roommates you had a falling out with more than.
Well,
kind of.
I had one roommate that stole from me. I had another roommate that let a roommate steal from me and was shitty and spreading rumors about my life. I had a guy that cost me my job. So yeah, they were all pretty much toxic people, and I needed to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I think that as I got further and further away from the toxicity, me as a person changed and shedded from what I was to who I am.
Right.
And I think that it's definitely not easy to reflect on that. But I mean, there are even friends that I have up here that I was super close with, and then for example, we have a very close friend, Michelle. She used to come around all the time. We get to hang out all the time. We would just do, she'd come over and play card games or whatever,
right?
And or watch movies or whatever and be dorky. And
just stop.
Her and her husband got pregnant.
That was it?
and she had her first kid, and it was like going to give her a little bit of time to just be a mom. We went and saw the kid after the kid was like 9 months old, and then she was like, surprise, I'm having another one.
You're like,
And I was like, okay, well, I think that time is pushing us further apart, and I understand that.
Well, she's in a different phase of her life.
Correct.
And you don't have that same kind of...
And it's learning, I think, the ability to be fluid and accept that and know, like, okay, example, you are a great example of another friend that I could have lost touch with, but...
We did lose touch for a few years.
Yeah, but the beautiful flip side to that was, like, everything put us back in, like, hey, if you guys want to be friends, this was actually a viable friendship. Like, we weren't, there was no predicated anything, you know?
The irony is we both moved away from Central Illinois, but yet moved semi-close to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was one interesting thing. You were like, yeah, I'm not too far from you, actually. Like,
because it was, because I remember we got back in touch after, Sarah did something for your birthday.
Yeah.
And I did something for that, and then we were planning to see Deadpool, I think was the next, because that was before even the podcast thing had entered the conversation, was it? Or was
Deadpool was 16, and I was already 2 years in at that point.
Right, but it was before podcasting entered, because that was later that year. Because wasn't it, that was...
Oh, you mean for you?
Yes.
For you, it was actually, 16 was when I think you came on and did some foodies with us, for sure.
Right.
And then
because that was when you were still because you talked to me about when you were creating foodies, when you and Veronica were doing it. You came with me.
I still, to this day, have the idea list.
And I was just like, I just brainstormed.
I love it. There's a lot of good shit on there we probably need to use, and like it's just there sitting for us to go. Oh fuck, we should use that now.
Yeah, I remember.
From movie like the title of the show to segment ideas, like you very, and I think that initiative, just you doing that, and you had no stake in this at that point,
right? And I was like, yeah, I'll be on a couple of times. It's not a big deal. And it was just like there was no.
But it was like, man, this guy, like, I think kind of wants this. He's looking for something, an outlet to like express himself. Mm-hmm. I think everybody needs that, whether it's music or radio show or podcasting or a YouTube channel or something.
Right.
Everybody has a voice, but I think so many people get stifled because they don't know how to let their voice out.
Right, and you offered an outlet because, like, someone like if I didn't have the network and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get you have to do so much legwork, and that's probably how a lot of people fall off. It's like, oh, you have to pay hosting, do all this, that. You have to plan a schedule. You have to. Well,
in the early days, of podcasting, when I first started, the thing I love that you're touching on this because it's a great thing to bring up because 2014, podcasting is like only 7 years old at this point. It's still kind of young.
It's also it hasn't had the boom yet.
Correct. No one at this point. I'm like, I'm going to do a podcast. A what?
Like a radio show?
And I'm like, it's internet radio, and that's how I would explain it. I'm doing internet radio. Okay, cool. But I would post an episode, and for 2 days it would get no plays and nothing and nothing and nothing. And then when I finally started connecting with whoever the audience was, whether it was you or Brando or all these other people that were my friends that were starting to tune in and get into it.
Brando was a part of the show.
Correct. Everybody was like starting to finally find it and tune in, and then I stopped. Wait 3 months. And then I was like, oh, I should probably do this. I didn't understand consistency and building a market based on always being there. Well, if you're always there, people are always going to find you.
Right. Because otherwise people will think like, oh, it's just over now, and then they'll move on.
Exactly. Oh, that was a one and done. Boring. Right. But if every week you're showing up in somebody's feed, they're going to be like, oh, fuck, I should probably check it out.
And that's the benefit of the network is that there's always content. Like even a show that's like seasonal, like we haven't heard from Gatlif Radio in a couple months now.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, as soon as you guys come back, that audience will be there because they're still tuning into the network. They're still seeing it. They're like, oh. Like, Foodie was able to come back, or go away and come back, and still has...
It's doing better this season. Like, genuinely, numbers-wise, we have topped everything we did last year, week to week. That there's a couple things that factor into that. We've obviously had 2 different features through Podbean, which was really great of them to do. Mm-hmm. And just having opportunities to spread the network around, doing the Fun for Funds event was a big thing for us because, you have one over there, that pamphlet, though, that tells people, if you don't know about our network, every show is in there. Every show is represented. Every show has something that I had to think about what the fuck I wanted to say for you guys. Right. Like, how am I going to sell this show, essentially? And you know what? It was worth it because...
I like how you've teased random stuff of the second season that may or may not happen.
Yeah, just like it's totally... I was just riffing.
Capitalize? Oh, from the movie. Yeah. You talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Or on the last Foodies.
Let me see that. Now you got me wanting to know what the fuck you talking about. Capitalize what?
Oh, you capitalize money pit.
Oh yeah. I forgot to put the quotes. A money pit. Yeah. But no, doing events and stuff, I think has been a big help for podcasting. Getting your name out to actual people, like the internet's great.
Right.
I can connect people around the world, but I am not going to be able to sell you my shit or what I want to talk about if you don't know me as a person. Like, why does it matter?
Right. And I think it's going to be a big help going from a recent live event with Fun for Funds to next month doing
LaFiCon.
Right, which will be another big presence for. And then because I feel like Central Indiana is getting a big, because there's a lot of people that are involved in the network that are in person, very involved in the music scene, the entertainment, alcohol scene. But
no, but I mean, I think the beer culture is the is the better way to say that. But the alcohol scene, I think that may be the episode title, the alcohol scene.
No,
people think we're drunk all the time. Drunkastrophe 3 featuring us too. That would be boring. It'd be weird. We'd just be sitting here
just sad drinking.
I'm here, man.
No, we need a bigger group.
I'm all sad. Oh wait, no, we're not doing that. But yeah, so and I talk about this too. One thing that I'm grateful for was not only our network is so different because we are all on one feed. We're all together pushing towards the same goal and whatnot. But we all have so much cross pollination that we really are JICN. Like the overarching idea we're giving to people is the idea of this interconnected universe
it's all
of people.
Cohesive.
It is cohesive, and we, the fact that like I'm friends with a guy who runs a different kind of podcast network. Essentially, what you would look at is like maybe somewhere down the road, that's what we would do. The kind of thing where every show has their own feed and all this shit.
Right. So it's just a bunch of if you go to their site, it's just a bunch of links to the other feeds. Is that?
Yeah, but those guys aren't like the Mad Scientist Party Hour guys aren't on some of these other shows with some of these other guys.
There's no cross pollination. There's not like you're never going to see like.
Even knowledge that they exist, really. There's not a group of people talking
there's no
all the time.
No bumper for the other show. It's just it's a common hub for them to plug themselves, but they're not
exactly, and that's it. And I don't want that.
It's like
go ahead.
Like if you've had Tyler on like JIC and on Foodies, and like if it was a different type of network, you'd be like, this is just our show, and whatever happens for a network that we may or may not be a part of is
their business, and we'll find guests for our own shit. We don't need anybody. But
like this one, we get together. People, there's like, you've had a bunch of different hosts, and you've been on I feel like you've been on every show on the network at this point.
No,
every old show.
I have not been on Adulting Ain't Easy.
That is true.
I have not been on Kids for Sale.
That is okay. So,
I have also. I think there's one more hold on. Minimize. Hopefully that didn't just take us away. I'm just going to look at the screen real quick. Okay, officially haven't been on Crucial Tunes either.
Okay.
So those would be the three. Adulting, Kids, and Crucial Tunes are the three I haven't been on, but I've been featured everywhere else.
You haven't been on Voice.
I kind of have, though, because I did The Road to Survival, which was a kind of episode about talking about some of my journey, not really in great detail, but spoiler alert.
Have you been on Dungeons?
Yeah, several times. First episode, the pilot episode, Veronica and I were on.
Oh, and when you were down that neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm, and for the LaFiCon before Christmas, and then we just did Exploding Kittens at at Fun for Funds, and it came down to Nick and I. I can't wait to hear. I like
Exploding Kittens. That's
I can't wait to share that audio with everybody. I've already heard it, but sharing that it was a fun experience.
Is that going to be the next Dungeons, or is that a special episode?
Because here's how it works. See, right now, Dungeons. Today, as we record this, the final episode of Death House just dropped. Their finale dropped today.
Okay.
With their finale dropping, they are going to move into another part of their story with those same characters, just the next phase. But we've got Fool's Week that's going to be in between that, and they had that Fun for Funds episode, so there might be a couple weeks before they jump back, or they might do the fucking Fool's Week, do their next campaign, and then put that Exploding Kittens episode
So it's a
later.
backlog episode, so you're not sure when that's going to drop.
Anytime. It could literally, and that's why on the actual pamphlet I put question mark for what number it was going to be, because I didn't know. I was like, I'm not sure what number that's going to end up being. But
episode You're gonna put that out to me episode 100. You're like,
Oh,
I
shit,
was so
okay.
wrong.
I was super wrong. I
They're
should
gonna hold
have
that
put all
They're
questions.
gonna hold that for like a year. Just
That's a very Dick Tyner move. He's got like 2 podcasts featuring Walk Among Us on it. I've never heard or seen. I have no idea. And then if you saw in the group chat, he was like, I'm going to hold this back for Patreon exclusive content.
and you're like,
join or die. And I was like,
I guess I'll die.
guess I'll die.
Because then they're like, did they have a lost episode?
I don't know if Dick actually had a lost episode. I know I've had a couple lost episodes we won't talk about. I know that Brews with Dudes had a couple lost mishaps that happened that were awful.
Joys of podcasting.
It really is the joys of podcasting, man. It's
Well, and technology in general.
and I want to get back to that with podcasting. I feel like right now we're still kind of in the wild west of podcasting. Like we could come on here and say pretty much anything we want. Like we're not going to be white supremacists, but if we were to choose that path and put that out on the internet, for the time being, we could still do so, which is awful.
But if you played a song, then they'd get you.
But then they would fuck us if I played music by, let's say, ELO.
You could scream a bunch of white supremacist words. Nothing. Next episode, play "Hit Me Baby One More Time." Get you.
Immediately flagged. But you know what? I fight that shit every time because I know my fair right usage. I'm looking at you, Facebook. I know the fair rights usage. Zuck, you motherfuck.
Don't say that. He might not like that.
Asad. Asad. That's what I'm going to say to him. But, nah, man. Where were we at? We were talking about, this is very podcastrophe. Like, my brain is all scrambled with meats.
We were kind of talking about the losing touch with friends.
Yeah. So I talked about a couple people like that. Are there any people like that with you that you have lost touch with?
Well, I actually talk about an example of that. I don't know if I brought up anywhere else. Last October, I had my 10-year high school reunion that I went to.
Cool.
And it's really weird. Like, I was a very different person from my senior year of high school to now.
Definitely.
Like, I've come on my show a lot. Like, college
I knew you
really...
then. That's
you
crazy.
knew it. And, like, I came on my show a lot. I became a lot more outgoing. But when I walked into my high school reunion, I feel like it all kind of came back. And I get a little more quiet, get a little more reserved. Like, you're like, I don't know these same people the way I used to. Like, I remember them, but we have nothing in common.
You're a group of strangers again.
Right. But I found, like, 2 of my really good friends there, and we chatted a little bit, and it was like no time had passed.
That's awesome.
Because they remembered you at all stages of your life, and it's just the continuation. Like, you have a wife and kids now. You've been in a long trip. You've been done other things, but we're still right back here.
Well, and another thing too is some of those friends I'm sure you keep up with on Facebook, so
Right.
it's easy to
It's
kind
weird,
of
like-
stay in their lives.
Right. But it's still the weird thing. You know stuff about them that, like, they've not directly told you, but they've shared it on Facebook. So you're like, how's the... Like, you know, I know too much that I can't be like, so how's the thing going with that? And you're like...
Good, I guess. How did you know? Oh, and then you're like, oh, Facebook told you, duh.
And you're like, oh, okay.
That is a common theme, being not only a part of the network and helming this thing, but also being in Walk Among Us. A lot of times people know my business when I go to places, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? They're like, we're Facebook friends, man. Don't you remember? And I'm like, what's your name again? Are you Luke? And he's like, no, my name's Adam, bro. It was close. It was close.
I know you through this and that, but I don't, like... You know of me, but I don't know you.
Oh, the guy's name was Alex, not Adam. Alex Nichols. See, now I won't forget it. But
Right.
this guy, he's been at a couple of our shows.
It's like when you had that crazy thing where you met the guy at the Metallica show that liked your band.
Oh, yeah, he's going to come to our fucking show in Chicago, too. He lives in California, and he's flying to Chicago, of course, to also see the Misfits, but he made sure to fly in a day early so he can also be at our show. And that's
someone who likes the Misfits enough that, he's going to fly out across the country to see them, but also to see a band that... You're obviously not on the same level as the Misfits, but but you're evolving, and but you have the audience that is like, I can't see the Misfits. I gotta see you guys too. Like
that's a good thing, and you know, maybe this was a little bit of us playing the field and knowing what was what. As soon as they announced that show in Chicago, April 27th, I was immediately like, let's figure out what venue we're going to play the 26th, because then we know all these people that want to see us. We literally have 4.2 thousand fans on Facebook.
Well, like you see, I've seen like the views you get on your Fiend Fridays.
Crazy.
Like,
I mean,
you know, there are people like who look forward? Like, if you didn't drop one, they'd be like, "Hey, where's the?"
Trust me, we waited one Friday and we had messages Friday morning.
Everything okay?
It's Friday. Where's the video?
Like this is my routine. I watch your video and I do the.
And I was like, "Don't worry, it's coming soon. Like we didn't forget about you. It's just coming later in the day." Because sometimes with the way our three of us schedule.
Sometimes you've had even Thursday night gigs before.
Yeah, Thursday night gigs usually mean we're doing a day of release on that video, or we're going to do it the day before, or however it works out. But to go back to that show in Chicago, like we looked at this as an opportunity. We have fans literally around the globe. Like that's something I can confidently say. Right. We've got fans in every country, all over the globe. So an opportunity, they want to see the Misfits because it's legendary. The OG Misfits, Danzig, Helming, the vocals. I in my lifetime didn't think I would ever see that. So now they've played Chicago. Now this will be the second time.
Have you seen them when they?
Mm-hmm. We saw them in 2016, like right after our first gig. It was our first gig. We saw the Misfits, and we played our second gig. It was nuts.
Like you can imagine just if all those people like who already know who you are, who never see the Misfits, and just wherever the venue you're at, just standing room only, like packing that place to the brim just to see what you guys have to say.
Well, and that's that was the goal, but now it's becoming reality. I mean, the dude that is the guy that runs Danzig's fan club and manages Danzig and is the photographer, Maurice Nunez, is coming with his 13-year-old son to see our show in Chicago and shared that shit on Danzig's fucking fan site. What the fuck? That is not something in my lifetime I could ever expect. So
right. You're a band from Northwest Indiana. Yeah, reaching you're not. Yes, you're close to Chicago, but you're not near. Like you're not near like a Massachusetts, but you've created this music scene that is that's obviously having the access to social media and having all that is really expand your band beyond a reach that you couldn't do what you're doing now 20 years ago.
Exactly. And I think
you could get started, but you would not have the same growth.
There are things in play now too that change that. You said it was social media. I think another thing is women being able to have more of a voice. Mm-hmm. One thing I would love to discuss right now is female fronted is not a genre. If your band is led by a band, it's just a band. You're a fucking band that has a lady singer, and you hopefully kick ass. Don't call it female fronted and call that a genre because it's bullshit.
It's like whenever not to get off topic, but remember it's like when you see in the Scott Pilgrim movie, it's like they have a female drummer too. It's just like she's just a drummer, man. Like any gender can play an instrument. Why does it matter?
Exactly, and I think that time has allowed that to be more of a thing. Right.
So because it used to be more of a not an exotic thing, but it was a niche market. It was like, it's an all-female band, or it's a female-led.
You had like Joan Jett, the Runaways, right, that were pushing the fold back then. But like you look at now, and we're a band that goes up on stage, no amps, no guitars, no bass,
right, and
totally, like if you want to use the right word, naked on stage.
You have a very unique sound too.
Correct, but we are very vulnerable on stage. It's very easy for our sound to be fucked up. If there's a night where V gets buried and it's just Sarah's piano, but her piano's not turned up quite enough, but you can barely hear the vocals, like it could be a shit show. We can still play through every song and we're not concerned, but the audience isn't going to have the same thing.
Right, and because they're not, any venue you go to is not expecting you.
Exactly, and that's one thing we've had to learn how to coach sound guys. Because
here's where you plug in your guitar, this where you plug in this, I don't have to change anything. But when you're like, I have two pianos.
And we have to go, we've got DI boxes for you, just run 2 more mic cables, you're going to set, and we're always set the volume.
Just stand back, let me fix this all, and then just...
Sometimes I do. I will be like, let me just run the sound. I'll set our levels, and it'll be good,
Do you fight some people on that?
No, not really. If they seem to be having a hard time, I'll offer, do you want me to just set it up, man? Because it won't take me but a minute.
We know how to do this.
Yeah, it's my...
And you'll put it back how it was when it's...
Well, no, I'll just let them run sound after that. I'll just be like, whatever. But my thing is, we always tell them, no matter what, once you set our levels, leave it. We play dynamically. We know how to get louder and get quieter with our instruments. We don't need you to make us louder or make us quieter. We can naturally play lighter or harder to do that. So it's just learning how to tell people the thing has been an interesting experience. But we were totally tangenting it back together here. You were talking about that fan that came to see me, and I said he's going to come to the Chicago show. The goal was to just have people who we haven't had an opportunity to ever play for, people in LA, people in Vegas, people where we haven't yet been able to tour. If they come and see us, and we make a big enough of an impact, they're going to ask people to bring us there.
Right, because if you can get brought out somewhere, you would gladly go wherever that opportunity would take you.
No question. If you book us, we'll be there. If you book us and pay us our guarantee, we'll be there with smiles on our face. If you book us more than our guarantee, we'll be there with smiles on our face, and we might even sing you a personal fucking ditty. That's how we are,
Right.
like.
Because do most I don't know anything about the museum, but do they pay your travel?
Depends on where you're going, depends on what it is. So now in 2019, we have a guarantee that's X amount, and I won't disclose that here. That covers, built into that price, all three of us getting paid, wear and tear on the truck. So essentially travel, right? Those things considered, we get paid, we're good. Some venues, we don't play the guarantee game. But like, we're going to play a new place in June. The guy was like, we want you to play really badly. What's it going to take? I said, here's the deal. This is our guarantee. Can you do it or not? He said, yes. We got a show. He said, no. Well, I don't need to be at that venue as much as you're wanting me at that venue. When they seek us out, we have more control.
Right. If you're seeking them out, then you're at their mercy.
Exactly. You're playing a very delicate negotiating balance.
Right. Like, well, or sometimes they'll pay you just off the back end. Like, whatever we get profit.
80% at the door is usually what the fine
especially
line
if
deal.
if there's multiple bands, you usually have to share it amongst the.
Which most promoters will sit there, split it up fairly, give everybody their cut, and it's good. Getting paid is not usually a problem with us. I think since 2017, we've had maybe one, possibly two incidences where we didn't get paid.
That was that one when you talked about heavily.
Yes, the really shit show that.
We don't need to go into it again. It's
not worth it. But yeah, no. The music scene is so weird because people are clamoring to hear live music and they don't even realize it.
Right.
So many people live their lives in headphones. I mean, I'm wearing them now while we're podcasting, but like, you don't realize what the effect live music will have on you. And I'll take this as an example. Like, I'd been to a concert that wasn't my own concert in a couple years, I think. It had been a minute. So when we went and saw Metallica, like, that was a fucking religious experience as I've ever had. I felt the energy of fucking life in that room,
Right.
18,274 people.
That's never going to be what you're going to get from headphones listening to a band.
Exactly, because it's
Even
compressed.
if you listen to a live album, it's not the same. You don't feel the energy of the people that are there with you feeling the same thing.
And you're not recognizing, like, I'm actually in this room.
Right.
Like, I don't care how big the room is. I don't care if I'm from me to my neighbor's house.
Right.
I'm in the building where Metallica played, man. You can't take that away from my life experience. Joe Blow can't take that away, So,
I mean, that's why I'm thinking I got to see Linkin Park live.
I'm jealous of that.
Saw him in Indiana. Like, just like, it worked out. We went and saw him, but like, can't do that now.
No, it wouldn't be the same, obviously.
I don't think there's even talk of them doing anything.
Speaking of music stuff, I don't know if you follow the band Static X at all.
I do not.
So they had a lead singer, Wayne Static. I was a real big fan of this band.
So was his band. I'm guessing Wayne Static.
Correct.
Static X, yeah.
Correct. So he died.
Okay.
Drug overdose a couple years ago.
That's unfortunate.
It was very unfortunate, and a lot of people in the scene were like, what the fuck? Like, this is what we were trying to warn this dude about, like, whatever. So Static X, Wayne Static and their bass player, Tony, had like this massive falling out, and there was this big dissent of who owns the band. Technically, Tony owns the rights to Static X and all the songs, just by how things fell in the contract, right? Mm-hmm. With Wayne dead, he's now the sole owner of the band. So he decided he's going to get the original lineup together, minus Wayne, and they're going to have a new lead singer, but that lead singer will wear a mask because they don't want people to know who is behind the mask. They want them to only be judging this person based on their voice.
Okay.
And I love that. I love that they're like, it doesn't matter who the fuck is behind that mask singing the songs. Listen to the tunes.
Sorry, there was a person outside.
Oh, that happens sometimes in my house. People.
Okay. But it's but I think isn't there a band that's like supposedly made up of famous people, like the Mummies or something, that do music? Do you know anything about that? Like they all wear like costumes.
I know about the Masked Singer.
I know that's a thing, but there's a I really want to ask Liz, but she's not on the podcast and I can't. But it's people who are dressed up so you just don't know who they are, and it's a rotating lineup of like relatively famous musicians that just play in relative obscurity.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it just plays. I don't know what music they play, but I know they exist out there, and it's very unique because you're judging them not based on their
who they are.
But you're just on their stage presence and their performance.
Exactly. And stage performance and presence, good thing to come back to that too. That's another thing that's difficult for us as a band. I sit down on the drums, and those two have pianos in front of them that they're stuck to.
You can't just get up and like walk around.
We can't run.
And,
we don't have wireless
pull the microphone
pianos.
out.
Exactly.
You
So
don't have a guitar.
we have to
You
bring.
should get a guitar. I don't think it would work at all for your sound, but it would be.
V could play guitar. Her sound would work. She could turn the dirty keys into guitar, and that would be wicked. I don't know if she would enjoy a guitar. That'd be kind of fucking hysterical to see. I might take her to fucking Guitar Center later just to watch that happen. Like, put on a guitar. I want to see it. But
It could be black. I don't know.
we have to just it's hard. Music is difficult, man. You have to catch people, and I think that's why the music scene is dying.
Mm-hmm.
You have so many bands that are the same genre over and over and over and over, and no one's trying to do that genre differently or with any gravitas or balls to step outside of the bounds. That's why we said,
Dick joined.
who?
Dick joined.
Oh, Dick has joined. Here comes the Mummies.
Oh, that's the
Drummer is Eddie Mummy. Do you know what's crazy? Here Comes the Mummies might be playing Logansport, Indiana this year with Walk Among Us opening. That's a spoiler.
Really?
It might happen. We've got a line on that.
You're trying.
I know the guy that's booking the show quite well. He really likes what we do. We've played there a couple times.
Isn't usually the opening act usually tagging along with the band though, or does it depend on the?
It depends. It really does.
Sometimes you bring a band will bring someone out with them, but sometimes they'll just the mercy of the venue.
If you've seen tours where it's like Coheed and X are touring, and they play 50 shows in America. Mm-hmm. They are usually on the same label or have the same manager or something that binds them. Mm-hmm. Then they go out on the road together and they just do their toury thing. Like, okay, I don't really have any good examples of that right now.
Right.
But alternately, if you're like a specialty band like the Mummies, who maybe they have their own, I don't know, contracts or their own record label or whatever you want to call it, they probably just tour whatever shows they want to go to, hit up whatever venues they can, and then whoever the venue supplies as their opening act, they're like, cool, we don't have to pay for their travel, we don't have to worry about if they're okay getting from place to place, or if they can't make the date, what to do. It's already taken care of.
Right. So that's nice. And that gives you some more exposure to a different audience that wouldn't seek you out directly.
Exactly. Thanks, Brando, for that tip or that heads up on Here Comes the Mummies.
He might be our one viewer right now.
He is probably the only viewer we've had this entire time. Thank you so much, Brandon Stone, for checking it out on this episode of
We've been recording for an hour and a half.
Podcastrophe. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. That's typical Podcastrophe, though. We get
definitely not doing a 4 hour like some of those. Those are hard to watch and or listen to. You're like, that's my Tuesday night.
That's like 2 Marvel movies, motherfucker. I could watch the Infinity War and
that's 1/3 Endgame. That's
1/3 of Endgame.
1 and 1/3.
1 and 1/3. Weird. You said Endgame, and Endgame tickets are on sale, or their on sale release date has been revealed.
What date is it?
I don't know. Let's go to comicbook.com, my source for comic book
I definitely want to
news.
see that. That comes out right before LaFiCon. So, but you probably can't talk about it at LaFiCon.
Well, here's the thing. We're gonna.
Talk
I don't know how or when or what the plan is, but there will be an episode where we dive. That's a trailer. Where we dive deep into April 2nd, Tuesday, April 2nd.
Gotta get my tickets.
Comic book confirmed with our sources. Tickets for Endgame will go on sale April 2nd. Make sure you have your plans now if you want to be one of the first to see the next crossover epic from Marvel Studios.
I'm probably gonna have to see it Thursday night.
6 o'clock or 7 o'clock?
Whatever I can get tickets to.
I'm going to try to get tickets at 6 o'clock because I want a fucking coin or whatever
Both.
they're going to give away. I'll watch it every fucking showing that whole weekend. Now, the crazy thing is I have one shot to see Endgame that Thursday. Because Friday we have a show, Saturday's LaFiCon, Sunday's LaFiCon.
And you're not going to be able to wait till Monday.
No, there's no way, and I don't want to be spoiled. So I'm going to go in as quickly, as early as possible.
Thursday at 6. Just
My thing is...
At least it's not midnight anymore. Remember when there used to be
true midnight releases?
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight did it. Another one that was, I remember, Revenge of the Sith did it. That was the day I graduated. So at midnight, the day I graduated, we were in the theaters watching Revenge of the Sith. I slept all day until rehearsal at like 11. Went to rehearsal for 15 minutes, went home. Slept the rest of the day until the nighttime to go to fucking graduation.
There you
It
go.
was all right.
Go see that movie.
Yeah, well, we will definitely be seeing Endgame.
That might be a great JIC at LaFiCon.
Well, what I was thinking is if we do it, we'll do it as an after show where there is nobody there and tell people
just so you know.
Just a heads up, we're going to give this warning once. If you have not seen Avengers Endgame, you will
Blare
spoiled
a siren.
In 5, 4, 3, Captain America dies at the end. What the fuck? You didn't count to 1. What? I didn't say I was going to count to 1. I just started counting.
Just have an air horn. Just attention, everyone. You're going to talk about Endgame. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you should leave the premises. This is not a test. Get out.
But spend all your money before you leave. You know.
It's like.
Did you hear about that? Actually, this is good. This is good news. Not, it's interesting news to talk about. So, there was a guy at C2E2 who got busted for stealing $9,000 worth of comics. Right?
Was he just picking them out and just not paying for them?
Well, I don't know what the game plan was or whatever, but I guess
boxes from a table. Maybe?
Somebody saw this guy. He looked like he was a little bit suspicious, so they checked their secret security cams they had brought to C2E2.
I'm sure there's those everywhere.
Everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
It's 2019. There are cameras fucking everywhere.
There's drones just floating around.
Yeah. So they checked their cameras and they saw this dude stealing and they called the cops. Dude got arrested. So dude gets arrested and Alex Cutter from LaFiCon messages me. He's like, check this out. And he had sent me the article and I was like, I already read it. Ha. He's like, yeah, that dude was one of our vendors at LaFiCon last year. So I say that aloud. I was like, this dude was a vendor at LaFiCon last year and he stole $9,000 worth of comics.
Was it going to take him to flip him at...
I have no idea what the game plan was, but as soon as I said this guy was at LaFiCon and he stole $9,000 worth of comics, V went, I think I was talking to him outside. I show her the picture of this dude. She was like, that dude has a family, a wife, and a kid. And she starts naming all these details that they've put, and I was like, you did talk to him. Like, what the fuck?
Was it a lot of comics or just a few valuable comics?
I think it was a few high dollars. You could
so
probably...
You can't just get like, I got a box of $4 comics.
Yeah, that's not going to work. But you could get 3 or 4, like, $3,000 comics and really make some...
Or a few $100s. Some of those rare...
Yeah.
Like, the first appearance of Captain Marvel's worth a pretty penny now.
The first appearance of Carol Danvers?
Carol Danvers, sorry.
Oh, wait, hold on. No, I'm asking a question because I'm unsure what you're speaking of. Are you saying the first appearance of Carol Danvers
as Captain
Marvel? I have that.
Isn't it worth some money now?
Yeah, let's look it up. Look that shit up. You keep talking. I'm gonna pull this shit up.
Yeah, because I think it's like when like when Deadpool came out. Like whenever something enters, not this, like kind of like the zeitgeist, when it becomes more mainstream, the comic value goes because people want to go back to it, and it becomes. It's like if they've ever made a Mr. Terrific movie. Sure, Mr. Terrific comics will probably just balloon, and they might make another run. I think there's a current run, but
so right now it says the first appearance of Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel is worth, in my condition, $225.
Okay,
I'm into that.
What's the $25 or $29? Is that like
that's the lowest grade? So it goes highest grade, which is
and
your,
that is
like, 9,
you have to get it
down to 2.
Was it not CGC?
CGC, yeah, the comic grading.
So do you?
Code.
I don't know how that works. Do you send it off and then they package it like that?
Fuck them. I don't. I hate that shit. I think it degrades. Like if you want to keep a copy of your comic, like if you, let's say, bought 2,
right,
and you choose to CGC one, I get that. If you went out and searched for a slabbed book, you're fucking dumb. You know why? You know what I love about a comic?
You can open it.
Opening it up and looking through it and smelling the pages and literally reliving like I'm in the fucking 60s.
Like, would you hate to have like your whole Spider-Man run just encased?
I would want to die. Like, what's the point? Well, you want me to just collect comic covers? If I want to collect comic covers, I'll fucking go print them off the internet, man.
Those are nice. Some are nice covers.
They are, but that's not why I want them. I want them for the book, for the juicy insides. I want to be able to look at a first appearance of Wolverine or the first appearance of Spider-Man or whoever.
If you're in it, like I guess if you're in it for the money, yeah, like look at all these 9.0 grade.
Sure, and it proves that they're high grade, but what does that do for you right now? I'd rather sell them raw and real and have somebody appreciate them.
Right, like obviously I'm not going to like fold it on itself like, well, let's look at this. I'm not going to crease it down the middle, but like if you take care, like if you were a nice person, take care of your comic, like it's not going to
exactly. And all you have to do is just take care of them.
Put it in a bag and board and call it good.
And put it in a long drawer box. Slide that shit shut and forget about it. You've seen my room, you know.
Is yours in a file cabinet?
No, it's in drawers. Well, I'll show you again, man. But yeah, no, I guess I have pretty much every comic in this run that we're looking at right now.
Is that your
Avenging Spider-Man run? I didn't realize that cover was $175. The Joe Quesada sketch variant, Dynamic Forces cover, fucking.
It's interesting. I still don't quite get why there's such a big market for variant covers. I still don't quite get that. Like, why it's like this has 11 covers. Like, why?
It depends. So some of them I can actually.
Well, like because like I picked up Detective Comics 1000.
Sure, yeah, they had probably 10 different variants.
Oh yeah, and it was all based on the decade run, like the different style, the different look of the they had the old DC logo and the banner and all of that.
They kept evolving it so it looked like a different modernized version of the book. That's cool, and that's for the collector who loves not just the books inside but also the art. And
right.
I get into some of those.
I really like I like Scott Snyder's run on Batman, but I love Greg Capullo's art. Like, so if you want his cover for that run, even though it's not his book, like, hey,
or like Greg Capullo doing a Flash cover, and you're like, oh my god, I never thought he would do a Flash book, but
right.
you're getting to see his art, and it's a different take on it. You know,
yeah.
That's what I love more than anything. You know, man, comics are weird though because. You know, in the 70s and whatnot, comics weren't desired as something you collected. It wasn't until the 90s, the boom of...
Well, it's like how you saw, like, how when they first came out, how they were treated like newspaper. They were just filler.
And, you know, I've seen...
That's why people find, like, Action Comics #1, like, in a wall with other newspapers, because it was just better used as packing material or insulation.
Or like, oh, I just found this X-Men #1 at a fucking auction, and it's folded in half. Wasn't a big deal for them to fold in half. It was just their Johnny book. They just put it in the back, you know, put it in their pocket and walked around. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't understand.
They passed it to their friend and be like, yeah, but it needed to be there before it could be here.
Exactly, and that I think
because if adults were after like, oh, this is a rare item, then it wouldn't exist anymore.
Correct. They would have been.
It had to be kids to kids to kids.
Well said. I think that's.
What's like whenever the person talks about the how Watchmen was the. No, was it Watchmen that was the sexually transmitted comic?
What?
The one how it always like I can't remember someone was talking about this on a podcast how like a woman would like it, and it would take it to like obviously like in the time period it would take it to the next like guy's house and he would find it, and it was just it kept getting around that way and finding its. They called it the sexually.
Okay. I feel like that's X-Men though, because X-Men comics in the '90s were everywhere.
I know there was a story about it. I gotta find it here.
Sure. Yeah, you look it up.
Don't look up sexually transmitted.
Oh, interesting. I guess we're a part of something new. That's cool. I like that. But no, man, I don't know who's joined us on the podcast right now. We want to thank you guys so much for checking out Podcastrophe this week. Yeah, episode 83. It's okay. We're just here on
I
episode.
I want to say it was Watchmen or some like non-mainstream book at the time.
Okay, makes sense. It probably was that or Hellboy.
Oh, could have been.
Speaking of, you excited for that movie?
I am to an extent. I just like David Harbour, but I'm really. It looks like it's going to be. They're really using the modern effects budget for this movie. Yeah. But the fact that I really wish Guillermo del Toro was still attached.
Well, that's. I mean.
But have you seen his movie that he's producing, the Scary Stories?
Yeah, To Tell in the Dark.
That looks intense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely lots of good coming.
So another thing we could bring up on here that would be worthy of talking about with two people discussing. How you feel about Nate calling all this James Gunn news that broke?
I was honestly shocked.
Yeah.
Like, I really didn't think that... Like, I knew it was probably partially tied to the deal. They couldn't do anything but I honestly thought even if they had no reason not to, but I think it was more monetary than realizing their mistake. I think they realized that Guardians 3, with any of the director, is not going to make as much money because it's not going to have the same passion.
Exactly.
But I think it was like... If Guardians 1 and 2 were just not as well performing as
Thor: Dark World performing,
yeah, like they would have been like, okay, we're just not gonna have any more Guardians movies. Like
whatever, we lost them.
We'll put something else. We'll make a Mr. Terrific movie. Okay, moving on. But like, I think realizing that there's enough that at stake monetarily that they're like, we can't just let this go, especially because like they've said the future is in space. And the Guardians were the first ones there.
And it's interesting that you said that because I just recently reread an interview that James Gunn did just before all that shit happened, like weeks before.
Well, because it was Comic-Con right before that, wasn't it? Wasn't that
no,
what led...
same week. Comic-Con happened. It was the week of SDCC was the week that he got fired. That all happened.
But wasn't he? Because he was at Comic-Con, wasn't he?
Mm-mm. He was scheduled to appear for Berserk and then didn't make the appearance
because all that stuff came out, and that's when everyone that was involved, like everyone at Disney was very tight-lipped on
what was happening.
Because also they're also kind of blindsided because it wasn't through Marvel. It was a Disney decision.
Correct.
Well, it wasn't even Bob Iger. It was his, because he was on vacation.
Horn.
So it was a purely PR decision.
And you know, like I had said, it only made the most sense to me that they hold off with their dealing with the Fox deal and trying to get everything over. It made sense. But James Gunn had said, like, in an interview a couple weeks prior to his firing, he was like, what happens in Guardians 3 spawns the future of the comics universe. Like, that's the story we're telling. It's going to tell. It's an inlet for other stories.
Well, and obviously they tried to, like, obviously you've talked about, they've talked to Taika Waititi, they've talked to other directors who have played in a similar field, but no one wanted to touch it.
Not with a 10-foot pole.
Because, look, if Taika said, like, sure, I'll do it, James Gunn wouldn't have gotten rehired. They would have just kept going
full steam ahead with the engine.
Right. And I mean, it would have been a fine movie, but it wouldn't have been the same movie.
Well, and then another thing, too, is then Taika Waititi gets put in a situation where he is now the next James Gunn, and if he makes any mistakes, he's on the chopping block.
Right, and he wants to, and I'm sure he doesn't want to play in the MCU forever. He likes they're doing that TV series, about that movie he made, the vampire movie.
What We Do in the Shadow,
What We Do in the Dark.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, Dark Shadow. It's something like that. Dark Shadow is another vampire show.
Some shit, I don't know.
Yeah, but like I think he likes jumping in and out, but he doesn't want to be tethered to the MCU. I think is how I'm gathering. Because a lot of these creative people don't. It's like they don't want to be locked into, like, all right, you're doing your next 10 years is going to be attached to the MCU. Like, some people want to spread their wings in a different way. They're getting to play, but they still have to play within the confines of the MCU.
I think they've got kind of like the 5-year plan going. Joss had the first 5-ish years of them building it, and then it was kind of handed off to the Russos, and they've handled it. But the Russos have said we might not be done after the Infinity Saga is over.
I wouldn't mind doing them to do a nothing like with the big cast. Give them one character.
Okay.
Like how they did with Captain America.
Okay.
Winter Soldier was an awesome movie.
Yes,
but then like they had Civil War, and then Infinity War and Endgame now.
Civil War, here, test. How many characters can you do in a movie?
But when they got to just play with one character without all these interconnected people, like obviously they had Black Widow and some just ancillary characters, but giving them just like one, like, well, you do a Hulk movie. Like give them like something that they can just
chew down on.
Yeah.
I like that. Something they can really sink their teeth into.
Like,
that's
it's almost like the retirement package of the.
Oh yeah.
That's like if like. Oh, like, we want Joss back, but not do, like, an Avengers. Like, Joss, you want to make an Adam Warlock movie? Like,
sending you to Florida.
Just give you a character. Just pick a character from the box.
Any character.
Just shuffle, just shake the box. Trust the cup. What?
Oh, okay. Brandon wants to catch up soon. We should do that, man, for sure. I'm all about that. Throw down a pod after Fool's Week. All right, I'm all about that. Hit me up, my friend. You know where to find me, my dude. What else should we talk about today on this podcast? I feel like we've podcastrophed all over the place.
I feel like... I was thinking I think we do have a final topic. I feel like we're kind of winding down here.
I don't really have a final topic.
Want to end it here? I mean, that's a good discussion.
I could play a video for you that'll get stuck in your head, but it'll piss the girls off.
Nah,
it's a Super Mario Brothers 3 song that somebody wrote lyrics over, and really
let's not do that. I think we're good here.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, let's tell everybody where they can find Podcastrophe, which you can check out Podcastrophe on the Journey into Comics Network at journeyintocomics.com. Get us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, Spotify, CastBox, and many others. Just search Journey into Comics Network.
You can find the Podcastrophe podcast on their own feed at podcastrophe.pod at
podbean.com. Yep.
Also have a Patreon you can check out by searching Podcastrophe.
I don't know about all that.
Podcastrophe Pod. I think they have their own separate Patreon. Look on their Facebook; they'll have more info. But
for sure.
As far as I'm aware, I think it's just search Podcastrophe. You'll find something.
Okay, awesome. Also,
and live streams every Tuesday.
Yeah, live streams every Tuesday right here on the Facebook page,
and
folks,
sometimes not on Tuesday,
which is like today, which is Sunday. It's weird, confusing. Everybody's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
The brick wall behind us, they're so confused. It's faux brick. It's not even real.
Just run right through it.
Damn it.
Don't do that.
You knew I was going to do yeah. All right, folks. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Podcastrophe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as always, I've been Dick.
And I'm Andrew.
Wait, I'm Nate.
And
you're still Andrew.
That's it. And I'm still Andrew. And make every day a
big dick day. Later, guys.
True Dick Energy.
like our plan. It's gonna be a big dick day. 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 Gonna be a big dick day. Gonna be a